Hey guys, Zane from the Infinite Jukebox here with another quick album review, and today I wanted to talk about the new Dying Fetus record, Make Them Beg for Death. Dying Fetus have always been one of the more heavy examples of quote-unquote popular death metal, and by that I mean by the standards of which death metal can be popular, which, unless you're Cannibal Corpse, isn't much. However, they've always been a bit tossed to the side, or at least they were for years upon years, despite being one of the biggest names in death metal as a whole, so it's nice to see them finally get their due over the course of the past couple of album cycles that they've had. I mean, this record in particular has really seen a lot of hype get built around it. It's gotten a lot of critical praise, and you know what? It's deserved. Make Them Beg for Death is a really strong death metal record. Now, with all of that in mind, the relentless chugging of the band has not really always directly translated to quality. They do have their weaker moments sprinkled throughout their discography, and as a whole, I wouldn't consider them one of the most consistent bands ever. However, when they work, they really work, and end up being one of the heavier, popular bands that you can listen to within metal in general, and Make Them Beg for Death really does make a solid case as to why these Marylanders in particular deserve the place that they found within the death metal community. The vocal performances from Sean Beasley and John Gallagher are often devastating and especially powerful. A lot of the riffs are dense yet still extremely catchy, and there's a surprisingly successful hit ratio for the hooks found throughout this record, both in terms of riffs and, oddly enough, even some chorus-esque melodies. That's not really something that you can say about a lot of death metal out there, especially not death metal of the more technical and sort of instrumentally proficient, shall we say, variety like Dying Fetus are. This is a very instrumentally and musically competent band that also happens to know how to write a good hook, and you know what? You can't fault them for that because they do it damn well. The songwriting at times does seem to lack a little bit in self-awareness, and I know that's not really something that's important in death metal, all things considered, but when a record comes across as self-serious at times, as Make Them Beg for Death does, it really does feel odd that a track like When the Trend Ends has some sort of societal commentary that's extremely vague and has really been done time and time again about technology and modern pop culture. It just feels like they're saying more than they actually are, or at least they think they're saying more than they actually are. And you know what, you can make similar comments about the political commentary found throughout some of the tracks on this record, or some of the political commentary just generally found throughout their discography in general. They've always been a political band, just not a particularly deep one. On the whole, however, Make Them Beg for Death, as you probably guessed by the album title and the grindhouse-esque album cover art, I really do find that this is about over-the-top carnage and strong instrumentation above all else, and that's what's important because the best moments on the record are ultimately defined by that. Look, if the brutality on this record and songs like Throw Them in the Van, for example, don't prove to you that Dying Fetus can pull off a heavy, brutal, sludgy even sound really well, then I don't know what will. Well, maybe not sludgy. Grungy? No. Dirty? No. Dying Fetus-y. Yeah, it's a Dying Fetus-y kind of record. I'm going to give this record 3.5 stars out of 5. And with that being said, that's the end of this quick album review. I've been Zane from the Infinite Jukebox. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.